Welcome to another episode of the Dreamr Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Adams, and I'm very excited for our guest today. I'd like to welcome Steve Sims. Steve, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So let me just get into a little intro about you real quick. Um, do you know anyone that's worked with Sir Elton John or Elon Musk, sent people down to see the wreck of the Titanic on the seabed, or closed museums in Florence for a private dinner party, and then had Andrea Bocelli serenade them while they ate their pasta? Well, you do now. Quoted as the real-life Wizard of Oz by Forbes and Entrepreneur magazine, Steve Sims is the best-selling author of Blue Fishing, The Art of Making Things Happen. Sought after coach and a speaker at a variety of networks, groups, and associations, as well as the Pentagon and Harvard, twice. Steve, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Well, listen, so the art of making things happen, man, that's really so in line with what we're aiming to build at Dreamr, is really just a new way to pursue very big goals. And, I imagine over, the years of your success and making things happen, that you have a framework that you started to develop, and how to pursue those things. So what's the first thing you do when you decide you've got a big goal that you want to make happen?
So I have a little saying, and it's the name of my next book, although that's not out, so no one can buy it. So it's hardly a pitch. But we have a little saying in our office called "Go for Stupid." We worked with Elon Musk once, and I remember having a conversation with him. And there was a gentleman that was asking him these questions, and some of the questions, I've got to admit, were a bit stupid, and they were kind of prodding him the way NASA at the time was kind of humiliating him. And Elon turned around and he said, they will always laugh at you before they applaud. He said, you want to go for something that by somebody else's perspective is stupid, ridiculous, unachievable. He said, because that's where the greatness happens. And I was thinking, that's really good. And I remember as a young guy, when I would go for something, and the first stupid thing, and you've heard it, how many times you hear people say, hey, I'm going to go for the impossible, or go for the impossible. The second you've stated that word, you've already given yourself a cap and a ceiling. You've given yourself an excuse. If I said to you, hey, I'm going to try this tomorrow, I'm going to go for the impossible, it's very easy for me to then come back and go, well, I tried, but what do you expect? It's impossible. You've given yourself that get out. But if you say, hey, I'm going to go for something stupid, I'm going to go for something so ridiculous, everyone in the room, when they hear this, is going to laugh at me. That's the area you want to go. So when I would do something, I'd be like, okay, what's the most ridiculous thing I can do here? What is so stupid that people are just going to laugh? They're going to pee themselves, because that's what I want to go for. Now, let me be very clear. I was doing that for 25 plus years of going for the stupid. You wouldn't always achieve the most ridiculous dream or the ridiculous goal. You would achieve like 5 steps less than it. Mm-hmm. But guess what? That was so stratospherically massive that you would always achieve way more than if you had gone for what was achievable. So go for stupid. Have people laugh at your dreams and aspirations.
That's awesome. That's incredible advice, because I think, so often people are somewhat scared, somewhat timid to put their dream out there because they don't want to be laughed at. Right.
But who cares?
Yeah, no, I know. It's a thing that, we've really seen, because we've in our app where people are declaring their big, crazy dreams, we've really made it a positive environment, where those type of things are encouraged. And and welcome versus just a kind of random internet putting it out there where you might come across some negativity. But I'm in your camp. Who cares? But a lot of people. This I'm telling you, this is why they don't share their dreams. This is why people don't talk
The
about them
daft,
out loud.
the daft thing is, have you ever looked at the people that laugh at you? Those are the people that are scared you're actually going to achieve it, to just prove how inadequate they are at it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's like the person that sells that car for 10 grand. They go down to the pub and they're taking investment advice from people that have no money.
Yeah.
So if you've got an amazing goal, if you've got a wish, if you've got a fantasy, own that shit. And when someone goes, that's ridiculous, look at them as the source. In fact, look at them as the fuel to make it happen, just so you can come back and laugh in their face. So always look at the people laughing at you. They're usually the people that have never achieved anything in any case.
Exactly, right? Projecting their own limitations on you and your dream.
Yep.
So awesome. So the art of making things happen, set a crazy big goal. I'm right there with you, and then, there's that more practical, pragmatic side of, what's that first step? What's that next step? Talk me through that. Is it inspiration? I know when I pursue a big goal, I'm usually waiting for, I'll start where I am and then I'll kind of let inspiration guide me. Or is this like, you have a special expertise in getting certain things done?
I don't know if I have any expertise. I have a lot of experience in getting it wrong. And with experience in getting it wrong, it teaches you how to do what you got right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't sit there and cross my legs around the campfire and sing Kumbaya and look for divine intervention and inspiration. I'm a great believer in momentum. Okay. I've had clients that have wanted to be married in the Vatican by the Pope. I've had clients that have wanted to play drums with Guns N' Roses, go backstage with their favorite rock stars, have walk-on roles at movies. The first thing you've got to do is do the first thing. Too many people go, hey, I've got this dream. Let me get my pad and paper out and let me just start to design and equate and structure and get a freaking flow chart and all that other shit that does nothing. A business plan, if it can be written, if it takes up any more room than the back of a postcard, who gives a shit? Okay? Because business plans and goals, they're objectives. They are routes. By the time you get there, you may have changed your dream, but you've got to get the momentum. When I had a family, I had a couple that wanted to get married in the Vatican by the Pope. What's the point in me Googling it? I thought, well, why don't I just phone up someone in Italy and go, hey, do you know what to do? I made 3 phone calls, and luckily on the 3rd phone call, someone went, I may be able to help you. You see? And they introduced me to someone else, who introduced me to someone else, who introduced me to the Vatican. That's momentum. Mm-hmm. Don't overthink, don't overdraft, don't overdesign, don't overpropose. Start the momentum. The first thing, if I wanted to, let's say something like, let's say for I'm saying I wanted to be an astronaut. Okay. What would be the first thing you would do to be an astronaut? Well, why don't you go to space camp? Why don't you go and do a zero gravity experience? Why don't you go to an astronaut museum and try on a spacesuit? Do something. Mm-hmm. Get the momentum going rather than just sitting there with your little internet and Googling everything.
Yeah, man, I love that. I think that's such practical and just very real advice that works. So that's real knowledge you're dropping on folks, and I appreciate that, man. So, okay, so, inevitably, they always, they don't always go 3 phone calls, right, when we're trying to get something done. Nope. Sometimes we have that adversity in the middle where it's like we have that moment where like, it's like it's not coming together. This thing, it would look like it was going to happen. Something changed at the last moment. what do you do, in those moments where, you've got to fight through, because it never goes according to plan, right? What do you do in those moments to kind of be a problem solver and still get it done?
So there's a few things. I have got it wrong, and I have failed thousands upon thousands of times. But I can't remember any of them. You see, let me ask you a question. Have you ever trapped your fingers in a door, in a window, hit them with a hammer? Have you ever done that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Do you know it hurts?
Mm-hmm.
Would you want to do it again?
No.
Do you remember what it feels like?
When I think about it, yeah.
Do you really? You see, look at you. You've got tattoos. Right?
I can think
yeah. You've got tattoos. I can see your tattoos. I've got tattoos. Okay. I had my back tattooed, and I remember when I had it done, they had to do the outline before the coloring. Mm-hmm. Okay, like most tattoos. I remember as I was having it done, going, this is the dumbest thing I've ever done in my life. Oh my God, this hurts. I'm never getting it done again. I'm never coming back for the coloring. It's just going to stay this. That's it. But what happens in 3 months' time when it's healed up? What happens to your memory of that pain?
It's gone. You're ready to go do it again.
Yeah, because someone says to you, hey, trapping your finger in a door, that hurts. Yes, it does. But can you remember the pain? Can you physically remember the emotions that was running through your body as it happened?
No.
And you can't. As human beings, we can't. If you could, women would never have a second child. We would never we would never have a second tattoo. We wouldn't do these things. We physically cannot conjure up the exact emotions of pain, because if we do, it stops us from progressing. So naturally in our body, we forget. We get a smack in the head and we go, bloody hell, that hurts. I'm never doing it, but it goes, and we move on with life. It's a mechanism that allows us to continue, okay? So that's the same thing with business. I know I failed. I know I've trapped my fingers in the door millions of times, but I've always tried to look at them as an education. Therefore, I've never failed. I've just become educated on how it shouldn't be done.
Right.
Now, when I'm trying to do something amazing, whether it be for my coaching clients, whether it be for my concierge clients, whether it be an event I'm putting it on, who knows what's going on? Me. My clients don't know what I'm putting on. So if I try to go and get a Mexican chef and he suddenly becomes ill and I have to pivot to Chinese food, my clients are none the wiser because they didn't know what I was trying to do.
Right.
So I've always found it's really good to exceed the expectations of knowledge of the person you're doing it for. So if I'm coaching someone, if I'm working on media, I tell them, hey, we're going for this. But guess what? It's only 40% of what I'm actually going for. If I want to get you with your new book, an article on the front page of the New York Times, I'm going to go for it. And when I fail and I get you a brilliant article on page 10, you didn't know I was going for a front page. You're just over the moon that I got you in the paper at all.
Right.
So
right.
The bottom line of it is, don't beat yourself up. And you say about the 3 phone call thing. I know for a fact, I have spent weeks, probably even months, phoning 200, 300 people just to get to the person I want. But here's the funny thing. The second time you need something similar, you don't have to make 300 phone calls. You can make 200. And then it's 100. You get to the situation where I can do it in 3 phone calls. If I want to get hold of Elton John and Elon Musk this afternoon, I don't need to make a phone call. I can literally drop a text.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've done it so many times now, I know who can. And that's the important thing.
Right, right. You know, momentum is interestingly enough probably been a subject on every podcast episode so far. So it's perfect that you brought it up, and it's really just such a real practical thing for everybody listening. You know, if you find something you're passionate about that you like doing, just do it over and over and over again, and you'll get good, and things will start to look easy. So that's so awesome. So Steve, let me ask you now that we've got some knowledge, now that we've got some mindset approach, I know you've accomplished so much, but I would love to hear about what your current dream is. What's your current big goal? You know, outside of really being of service to others like you are.
So for 25 years, I ran and launched the world's leading experiential concierge firm, and I hated it. I did all those amazing whimsical dreams for billionaires only so I could have a conversation with billionaires. You see, I launched a concierge firm not because I'm warm and fuzzy and I like, you know, hanging out with people. I'm actually not very sociable. I did it so I could speak to really successful people and say to them, hey, you know, why are you successful and I'm not? You know, what gets you out of bed? What excites you? That's what I wanted. I did the concierge firm as a Trojan horse to get to have conversations with the leading, most successful, powerful people in the planet. And believe it or not, that are not the most famous. You know, a lot of people think the famous people are rich. No, the clients I'm working with could buy Brad Pitt 400 times. So the bottom line of it is that's why I did it.
Okay.
About
Incredible.
3 years ago, I released a book called Bluefishing, The Art of Making Things Happen. And at the age of 52, I was at the time, I wanted to release the book because I won't say I've made it, but I'm okay now. You know, I live very well up in the hills of LA. I've got loads of motorcycles. I can travel the planet. I could do what the shit I want. So I'm happy.
Yeah.
But I've got kids. And I'm also bothered. I'm bothered by the way people communicate with each other today. I'm bothered with the way that they don't. You see, if I said to you now, Black, let's talk about Black problems. Let's talk about Asian hate. Let's talk about the Me Too campaign. Let's talk about Donald Trump. One of those subjects is going to make you uncomfortable. Today, what do we do when we're uncomfortable? We don't have the conversation.
Yeah, shut down.
Today, we need to have the conversation. I need to be able to say something to you that makes no sense to you, that you can educate me on, you can correct me, you can help me grow by intelligence.
Yeah.
But instead, you turn around and you say, oh, I'd like to talk to you about, you know, the recent issues with inequality, diversification. I talk to you about diversity. And people go, oh, no, I don't want to get into, so we don't communicate. Now, this was starting before COVID, where we couldn't communicate with each other and we still had mass problems. So I released a book because I thought to myself, I want to get the world to do more and think less. I want to have them enter into conversations. I want to have them enter into dreams. I want them to enter into business. I want them to stop worrying about what the dickhead at the coffee bar thinks about your new company. And I want you to surround yourself with people that will challenge you to create impact. No one that did anything fantastical did it by following anyone else. You know?
Yep.
So that's why I wanted the book to come out. The book came out. I hoped it would help people. I was not aware of how well it would do. And so it's quite simply like releasing a crocodile into the sewage system. You just don't know what's going to happen to it. And you have no control either.
Right.
It's now just got translated and released in Russian, I think last month.
Wow.
6 months before that, it was released in Polish. It sold out all copies in 2 hours. Fastest sellout of a book. It's in Korean, Thai, Vietnamese, and Mandarin Chinese. It's gone all over the world. So now, pre-COVID, and now it's happening post-COVID, I'm traveling the planet, speaking on stages, training sales forces on the art of communication and client service. I'm coaching people. So now my role has moved away from the concierge industry, and it's firmly embedded in helping you get out of your own way and doing something different. That's what I'm focused on.
That's amazing, man. That's amazing. So let me ask you this, just as a follow-up. Would you say that communication is that key skill to making things happen? Is that the one that people really need to focus on improving and just start doing more?
It's the only skill. You know, everything else you could, like, you know, what's your background?
My background's in tech and design, you know.
Tech and design.
Graphic design.
Could you fix an engine?
No.
All right, so if I gave you a carburetor and I said I've got a clogged carburetor, do you think you're skilled enough to be able to fix it?
I'm skilled enough in the sense that I could find the information and figure it out.
And where would you go for that information?
The internet.
Bingo. So you'd go and download a YouTube video on how to rebuild a carburetor, correct?
Yes, yes.
And more than likely, because of the range of videos on there and carburetors being pretty basic, I would end up with a carburetor that works, correct?
Most likely, yeah.
Right. So where are you going to go to download an app that's going to help you communicate with someone?
I don't know. I don't know about that one.
See, communication is still the only skill set that you cannot download an app for. I could download an app to help me podcast, build a bridge, probably even do bloody surgery of some level. But you can't download an app to become a better communicator. And if you're trying to do something, I don't care if it's technology, releasing a record, releasing a movie, building a CRM program, whatever you have built, if you can't communicate the problem that it solves, you're out of business. Because it's the communication of what you do, whether it be through advertising, podcasts, any of these different mediums, that gets people the knowledge of what it is you do, why they need you, why they want to get involved, and then eventually getting them to give you that credit card and presenting you with a client. If you don't have communication, you're dead. You think I'm kidding? Stop talking tomorrow. Stop writing emails tomorrow. Stop texting for an entire day and see how productive you become that day.
I can't do it. I couldn't do it, man.
Who could?
That's my whole job is communication, you know, doing what I do. So I definitely see how that translates to the art of making things happen, you know.
And you don't even have to. Here's the daft thing. I can't spell for shit, okay? I really can't spell. I'm terrible with grammar. I don't know, is it two with two O's or one O, you know? I don't bloody know. Plus the fact I'm British, so we spell colour, harbour, and a whole bunch of other colours, words with a U in it that you guys don't.
Yeah.
But, you know, here's the funny thing. Whenever I write an email, whenever I write a newsletter, whenever I write a posting on any kind of social platform, the app corrects the grammar and spelling for me. I don't need to correct it. I just need to be able to formulate it. Once it comes out of my head and it's puked onto whatever platform I puke it onto, all the little grammar gremlins will do their own work for me. I haven't got to worry about it. And all of a sudden it's legible and someone can read it.
Man, see, that's what I'm talking about. Leverage technology to get what you want to get done. So
yeah, but you add to that. Technology is there to help you get to step 2. It can't get you to step 1. That's you. Step 1 is you being aggravated and starting something.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can use technology to accelerate its growth, its benefit, its reach, its advertising, its message. You can use that, but it's no good buying Facebook adverts if you haven't got a message.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so you are step 1. Technology is step 2.
Agreed. It's a tool. That's it.
Correct.
A tool to help get us where we're going. So, well, listen, man, you've dropped so much knowledge. Is there anything else you want to leave the Dreamr community with? You know, these are young kids, high school age, all the way up to, you know, people in their 70s that are pursuing goals. Is there any one, you know, last nugget of wisdom you'd like to leave this community?
Yeah, I think today what we need to do is stop caring about the people that don't matter to us. You've got to change the room you're in. I have, and it's free of charge, so there's no pitch in it, but I have a free Facebook group called An Entrepreneur's Advantage with Steve Sims. And I set up that group because I want an environment, like you were saying, where people can dream big, demand more, without the fear of idiots humiliating or pointing or laughing. So change the room you're in. If you are in a room and diluting or degrading your dreams and ambitions based on the morons that are around you, then change the room. And you can do that online. So change the room you're in to be able to get more of what you need.
Amazing. Such solid advice. Steve Sims, thank you so much for being a guest on the show. I appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
All right, we'll talk soon.